What would you do if one random Tuesday morning, while you're half awake, brushing your teeth, and listening to your usual podcast about how to become a millionaire in 30 days, a black SUV pulls up outside your house, and three men in expensive suits walk out and tell you, "Pack your bags. Your dad stole $1 billion from the Mafia. You've been sold to make it right." Now, if you're anything like me, your first reaction might be, "Wait, I have a dad?" But I digress. My name is Leo Martinez, and up until that fateful Tuesday, my biggest concern in life was whether my oat milk latte would have enough foam. I was 27, living in a shoebox apartment in Brooklyn, working as a freelance graphic designer, and binge-watching true crime documentaries, ironically. My life was simple, painfully uneventful. That is, until it wasn't. The SUV outside was jet black, not a speck of dust. Windows tinted darker than my dating prospects. The guys who stepped out looked like they walked straight out of a mob movie. One was bald with a tattoo of a snake around his neck. The second had a toothpick that never left his mouth, and the third, well, he had a briefcase and the cold, dead eyes of someone who's never heard of brunch. I opened the door in my SpongeBob pajamas, toothpaste still foaming from my mouth. "Leo Martinez?" the bald one asked. Depends who's asking. Your father stole from Don Vincenzo." "Don who now?" "To pay the debt, he gave you to the Don." I blinked. Twice. "Okay, listen," I said, raising my hands. "This feels like a conversation that could benefit from coffee. Maybe even a croissant." They weren't amused. One quick trip, more like kidnapping later, I found myself blindfolded, sitting in a chair inside a massive marble-floored room that smelled like cigars, money, and betrayal. "You're the son of Carlos Martinez," a deep voice boomed. "The man who conned me out of $1 billion. I took a breath. "I mean, is there any chance this is a prank show?" Silence. "I didn't even know my dad had $1 billion, I added. "He told me he made a living flipping Beanie Babies." That was the first time I heard the Don laugh. "You're funny," he said. "I like funny. That's how I became the indentured servant, or as I prefer to call it, the intern of Don Vincenzo, the most feared mafia boss in North America. My job? To work off my father's debt by assisting the Don and his crew in operations." I tried to clarify what operations meant. They said, "You'll learn." Spoiler, I learned. Fast. Day 1. I was in charge of organizing the Don's extensive wine collection. Seems easy, right? Wrong. Apparently, there's a difference between Chianti Classico and "you'll be swimming with the fishes." Day 2. I had to babysit his daughter's Chihuahua. The thing had a diamond collar and more attitude than a reality TV star. It bit me twice and pooped in my shoe. Day 5. I accidentally rearranged the Don cigar stash alphabetically instead of by power level. I didn't even know cigars had power levels. But here's the crazy part. I didn't hate it. Turns out, being around danger makes life incredibly exciting. I was now living in a mansion, wearing tailored suits, and though I still couldn't go outside without two guys tailing me, I had free pizza for life. Pros and cons. I was introduced to the crew. There was Sal, who once accidentally drove a car through a rival's bakery. Big Tony, who could solve a Rubik's Cube in under a minute but couldn't spell Rubik. And Maria, the Don's daughter, who, let's just say, was nothing like the bloodthirsty reputation of her father. She was smart, sarcastic, and once helped me sneak out to get bubble tea. Over time, something weird happened. I started getting used to the mafia life. No, I wasn't carrying a gun. I still fainted at the sight of my own blood. But I found my way to be useful. I helped them set up a digital database for their business ventures. I revamped the Don's website. Yes, the Mafia has a website now. Very sleek. Minimalist. Even has a blog. They called me Tech Guy. I preferred Digital Consigliere. A few months in, I was doing pretty well. I hadn't been shot, stabbed, or disappeared. In fact, Don Vincenzo started calling me son. That's when things got complicated. One rainy evening, during a lavish dinner, the Don asked me, "Leo, how would you like to stay here? Permanently?" I choked on my gnocchi. "You want me to, what?" "Become family. My daughter likes you. You're smart, loyal, and you make me laugh." "Whoa, whoa, whoa," I said, waving a breadstick like a sword. "Back it up. Are you asking me to marry Maria or run the Mafia?" He smiled. "Both." I looked at Maria. She shrugged. "Could be worse." "Could it?" "I mean, sure. I liked her. And I didn't hate the Don. But marriage? Crime? Power? That was a whole different tier of adulting I wasn't ready for. So I did what any emotionally constipated millennial would do. I panicked. I told them I needed time. And then I ran. Okay, not very far. I made it as far as the gate before being caught. But the Don didn't get angry. He sat me down, gave me a glass of his rarest scotch, and said something that surprised me. You remind me of your father. I blinked. My father? The guy who stole $1 billion from you. He didn't steal it, the Don said. He conned me. And it was brilliant. Cost me everything, but I respected it. I sat back, stunned. Then, why take me? Because, the Don said, your father gave me the greatest challenge of my career. I didn't want revenge. I wanted his legacy. And you're better than he ever was. That hit me like a truck. I wasn't just a debt payment. I was a twisted form of inheritance. The next morning, something clicked. I walked into the meeting room with a full PowerPoint presentation. Gentlemen, I said, clicking the remote. Today, we're going to modernize the Mafia. Slides showed logistics apps, laundering through crypto, blackmail-proof data encryption. I even included graphs. The Don looked at me with wide eyes. Then he burst out laughing. You really are your father's son. And just like that, I was in. 2 years later, I'm still here. Maria and I are not married yet, but we co-own a gelato business as a front. I'm the official tech strategist for Don Vincenzo. Our operations are smoother, safer, and dare I say, stylish. My dad? He's living in the Cayman Islands under an alias, sipping cocktails and sending me postcards that say you're welcome. Sometimes I wonder how different my life would have been if that SUV never showed up. But then I remember. I'm Leo Martinez, the guy who was sold to the Mafia to pay off $1 billion debt and turned it into the best thing that ever happened to him. All because my dad was a criminal genius. And because, apparently, crime does run in the family.